Well, let's continue after the break. This short talk is about dilemmas connected with artificial intelligence. It discusses philosophical, ethical, and legal implications of current AI models. So, as with other talks, I want to thank to my colleague Felix Alipas Dicke, who reviewed this presentation and gave me really valuable feedback and many suggestions for its improvement. Here are topics I want to cover in my talk, and as in other talks, you will see throughout the talk these AI-generated images, which I created using Deep Dream Generator to make these slides more interesting for you. So let's start with the initial hysteria against artificial intelligence. AI became a mainstream topic at the beginning of the year 2023, and throughout the spring 2023, we have seen that it immediately woke up the deepest and darkest fears of humanity. And media amplified these fears and got a lot of attentions. And people were afraid about AI taking over all jobs, ruling the world, enslaving and killing humans, and all this stuff, which usually shows up in such situations. And throughout the year 2023, many people wanted to stop AI development, to destroy existing models, to never ever do it again, and so on. They claimed that AI has its own digital ego and wants to rule the world or kill us simply because it can. And they perceived AI as merciless, cold-hearted, absolute power, which will have no regrets and no limitations. And internet was full of ugly verbal attacks against anyone who welcomed or used AI. But over the year 2023, people gradually got used to AI and hysteria calmed down. And here I put a meme with a quotation from the work of Swiss psychologist Carl Gustav Jung, who said in 1960s, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And this is exactly what we have seen in the spring 2023, that all those subconscious fears and traumas uh, were activated and their influence people's behavior. But as usual, these fears are not new. We all have seen movies like The Matrix or Terminator, and this clearly contributed to the initial hysteria against AI. And people who started to oppose AI have seen themselves as the last defenders of humanity and freedom. And that hysteria against AI peaked in the summer 2023, and later it gradually calmed down. But as usual, this is nothing new, because we have seen this many times in the history. Always some new invention like radio, television, computers, internet, smartphones, social networks. They always have been seen at their time almost as the end of the world. Here are some titles from newspapers which illustrate this previous hysteria panics. So if we will not take into consideration this hysteria, we shall discuss the real biggest risks of AI. And they, of course, exist, and we must understand them. So first, biggest risk is lack of transparency and explainability. Generally, it is difficult to understand how AI models make decisions and create the outputs, because it really depends on training data and the overall architecture. Another biggest risk are biases and discriminations, because those AI models are trained on biased data, and therefore AI can perpetuate and amplify these biases. And they uh, pose some really serious security risks, because they could be used for creation of advanced cyber attacks or new types of malware, and very plausible deepfakes. They could be also misused for autonomous weapons and AI-based arms race. So these autonomous weapons can make decisions without human intervention, and they can be also hacked and misused by some criminal organizations. And of course, there is the risk of social manipulation, because AI can very precisely manipulate people's opinions and behavior, and can create fake news and propaganda. Another big risks of AI are concentration of power, because AI development is currently quite expensive endeavor, so only big companies and rich governments can afford it, and therefore these tools will be dominated in coming years mainly by these biggest players. There are some open source models we will see. Maybe future will bring us some uh, cheap and powerful open source models too. We will see. Another problem is losses of jobs and economic inequality. True is that AI models can easily replace humans in many jobs, especially in repetitive tasks or low-skilled jobs. New technologies always created new jobs, so with AI, it will repeat itself and new jobs will be created, but they will require different skills and different education, so people must adjust themselves. And other risks related to AI is lack of accountability. Who is responsible for what? Privacy concerns, because there could be data leakages, and ethical dilemmas regarding which types of questions AI shall answer and which should not be answered. Here comes that problem with censored versus uncensored models. Um, all existing commercial AI models have ethical boundaries, and they will refuse to answer controversial questions. But these boundaries can be, in some cases, relatively easily bypassed, and these techniques are called jailbreaking. In another talk, I dive deeper into these questions. So if you're interested, go there and watch it. And there are also uncensored open source AI models, and these, by definition, can answer any question, even the most controversial one. And time will come when we will probably see even more powerful uncensored models, even especially trained for controversial topics. So regulations are necessary. And this is the reason why European Commission created coordinated plan on artificial intelligence. And surprisingly, this plan is not new. It was first time published in 2018, long before AI became a hot topic. And the last update comes from 2021, which shows that plans for AI were actually prepared long time in advance before it became publicly available in 2023. And the European Union plans to invest a yearly minimum of 1 billion euros in the development of AI. As part of this overall plan, European Union published AI Act, and this This is like the first ever legal framework on artificial intelligence. An idea of this framework is to ensure that AI models are safe and respect fundamental rights and ethical principles, and that Act implements risk-based approach, meaning the higher is the risk, the stricter are the rules. Act prohibits AI systems that pose unacceptable risks and defines obligations of providers of other AI systems. So if we look deeper at this regulation, we see these four levels of risks. And there is like highest unacceptable risk, and some AI systems are prohibited by this European AI Act because they pose a clear threat to the safety or rights of people. So those are some social scoring systems, mass surveillance, and so on. Second level are high risk systems, which are used in critical infrastructure or in education, in essential private and public services, law enforcement, and so on. Third level are systems with limited risks, and here European AI Act creates some specific transparency obligations for companies which create these systems. And the last level are systems with minimal risks, and there are currently no specific obligations for the companies in this level. What is prohibited? I already mentioned it. Social scoring systems that would evaluate individuals based on their social behavior or other personal characteristics, emotion recognition systems in public spaces or at work, and AI systems which could exploit vulnerabilities of specific groups of people, especially children. Also, usage of remote biometric identification systems in public spaces is prohibited, but can be allowed in some very specific cases. A list of these systems is currently only partial and will be extended in the future because we cannot predict everything what will be created based on AI. Second level are those high-risk AI systems. You can see examples of these high-risk systems here. And there are obligations for companies which create them. They must implement continuous security risk management. They must provide fundamental rights impact assessment before they deploy the system. They must have quality management system already in place in the company, and they must monitor the performance on those systems and evaluate its continuous compliance, and must maintain automatically generated logs of the AI activities. As you can see, this is quite critical system, especially this HR system, educational, critical infrastructure, biometric-based systems, and so on. For other systems with a lower risk, there are just transparency requirements. User must be informed that they are interacting with the AI, and generated content must be clearly marked as created by AI. And models must be designed to prevent from generating harmful or illegal content. And companies also must publish summaries of copyrighted data used for training of these models. Here in Germany, we have Federal Office for Information Security, Bundesamt für Sicherheit in der Informationstechnik. And this office regularly publishes white papers and recommendations for cybersecurity. On their website, you can find a lot of documents related to AI. I listed just 3 recent ones. These links are clickable, so later you can go to these slides and It will redirect you to that website. We talked about risks, we talked about regulations, but uh, there are always two sides of one coin. So there are definitely expected benefits of AI. As I said, new technologies in the past always created more jobs than they destroyed. So we can expect that it will be the same here, and AI will bring new jobs. It will automate repetitive, boring tasks, and people could be more creative. AI will definitely improve healthcare, education, and give us safer transportation. We could also see systems which improve security and fraud detection, and definitely better customer service systems, which will be always willing to help us and give us as much time as we need. And as we already can see, AI will bring new inventions and discoveries. In this context, we shall emphasize that AI is something as a look into the mirror of humanity. It reflects back our best and worst qualities. All data which were used to train AI models are our data. We created them. They contain our thoughts, our emotions, and also all our biases, prejudices, half-truths, lies, pretenses, traumas. So when AI learns from such data, it can learn only this, what is already in the data, and reflects it back to us. So AI cannot be more ethical or better than data we feed into it, which means that AI is only as good as the data and people who train it. So if someone would train AI only with the data full of hatred and malice, definitely they will create a hateful and malicious AI. If someone would train AI in killing and destruction, they would definitely create a killing and destructive AI. But if we would make effort to make to train AI on the data which will struggle for fairness and compassion, we will create more fair, loving, and compassionate AI. So AI is only as good as the people who train it and use it. This is the reason why we shall not uh, attack AI, but we shall rather concentrate on healing our deepest traumas and fears, because this is the source of the main danger for the future of our world, not AI by itself. And that's all what I wanted to show you. And I want to end this presentation with two quotes from authors I respect very much. Uh, First of them is already mentioned Swiss psychologist Carl Gustav Jung. And here is another quote from him. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. This is like that quotation which repeats the idea that AI is just a mirror of humanity itself. And second quote is from Gabor Mate, a leading world expert on healing of deep psychological traumas. And he wrote, "We may not be responsible for the world that created our minds, but we can take responsibility for the mind with which we create our world," which means we can do better, and AI can help us with this. And this is all what I wanted to show you in this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I will stop recording, and please ask questions if you have.